It's time for To The Max Sports, where we talk about sports. They're just two guys, Max and Drew, in a bar talking all things sports. Well, without the bar. And the beer. Wait, why aren't we in the bar?
So welcome to the Flying Whippet Production Studios.
Yep, audio's working.
Audio's working, just no visual. Yeah, there it goes.
There we are.
How's everybody doing?
Good morning, everybody.
We had a little kerfuffle last week, so we weren't able. We actually had a show. We just weren't able to put it out because we had some audio issues.
Well, I mean, it was a show that would have worked well if you could read lips or were a mime.
Like the Seinfeld episode when they reading lips. Yeah.
Well, you know, we're from Spurs country kids, and to quote Church Lady, we had one of our players showing off his naughty parts, and I think the Spurs did the right thing. They got out ahead of it. Apparently, they're doing a presser right now, or an attorney speaking, but I think the Spurs are a very smart organization, and the fact that they're going to protect the brand, and they immediately released the guy. This is Josh Primo we're talking about.
See, I don't think immediate is the right word. There's some rumblings that this investigation has been going on for a couple months. And my feeling is the Spurs, being the world-class organization that they are, that they went to Josh. This is with absolutely no news sources whatsoever. I'm totally making this up. Went to Josh and basically confronted him and said, hey, what's going on? And he denied. No contrition, no nothing. They continued their investigation, said, we're going to let you go. I believe if he had shown some contrition, shown some maturity, which I don't expect 19-year-olds to have, I believe the Spurs go, okay, let's do this the right way. Let's get you the help that you need. But I don't think that's the way it went.
I agree with you to an extent. I'm sure there was probably some internal investigation, not just an unfounded allegation that would have terminated him.
A nun-founded?
Unfounded.
Wait. One of the massage therapists was a nun?
Unfounded.
Oh, unfounded.
I mumble a lot. I know it's my voice. But here's the thing. I think the Spurs have learned from other organizations that accusers aren't going to go after a rookie Josh Primo, no matter how big his contract is. Accusers, and rightfully so, if they're complicit, the organization, that's where the money is. And I think the Spurs got out ahead of it by saying, hey, we checked into it. We let the guy go. We knew of nothing that was going on prior to this. But there'll still be some lawsuits, and I guarantee you the Spurs will be named in the lawsuit.
There already is a lawsuit.
With the Spurs named in it.
Yep, the same, I believe the Spurs are named that. The same attorney that represented 23 of the 24 plaintiffs in the Deshaun Watson
So here
lawsuit.
we go. And so the Spurs made what I would consider to be the smart office move by saying, when we heard about it, we looked into it, we immediately let the guy go.
Yeah, and that's a Spurs organization. I don't think if you went up and down the ladder in the NBA, I don't know if all the other teams would have done the same thing.
Probably not.
I mean,
So can we ask a question on that one?
you can ask whatever you want. It's your show.
With the Spurs, speaking of the Spurs, their coach that went to Boston and was released because of the whole scandal. So now, because Steve Nash has been, they released him, or they let him go for the Nets. He's going to, the coach is now going to be the new coach for the Nets. Well, but what Drew's saying is it's a great point. It's strong, and I'm glad that we're talking about it. But isn't the NBA kind of saying, oh, yeah, well, we're going to do this over here, but then with another team and another organization, are we not going to talk about that anymore, and then just kind of let him slide in and be the coach, which is a great coach, and I understand that, but it still happened.
It's if Josh Primo was a better player, I mean, let's all be honest, and Josh Primo is not, the next transcendental star in the NBA. If he's a better player, let's roll the tape forward. Let's say it's 18 months down the road, and this is Victor Wembanyama. Do we get to the same result? Or was this just very, very easy for the Spurs to do the right thing because Primo just didn't look like he was rounding out as quickly as we wanted him to?
Well, a couple of things. One, he wasn't rounding out as quickly as they thought. The second is they are in the sweepstakes for the kid from France. So it kind of...
Are you saying the kid from France because you don't want to pronounce Wembanyama?
Kind of. But when you think about it, it kind of worked out for them. Having said that, you still got someone's life involved here. You know, hopefully whatever issues Josh Primo is dealing with, he can resolve them. I do think he can still have an NBA career once this is resolved. And he gets obviously whatever help he needs, because there's some underlying issues there that hopefully, you know, unfortunately he probably had some circumstances in his life that he couldn't control that caused him to be where he's at today. That's just a medical fact as you read about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, these players, if you want to go off and do naughty things, and you have self-control and you have control and you have smarts about it, you go about it in a way that doesn't put it in the public eye. I mean, there's the allegation right now by one of the podcasters that LeBron looks like the dutiful, faithful husband because he's got great NDAs with all of the women that he allegedly cheats with, and I actually don't believe the story. So if Josh Primo was smarter and wasn't engaging in risky behavior, perhaps this goes a different way. But yeah, it's more of a mental thing. I hope he gets the help he needs, the help that he allegedly, according to his press release, wants, and goes off. $8 million gets a lot of mental health help. And that's what the Spurs owe him, $8 million.
Right.
So maybe we'll see him again. Maybe we'll see him probably in a bench capacity somewhere. Yeah. But it won't be here.
But PR-wise, I think the Spurs, very smart the way they've handled it. They got a lawyer speaking right now as we're talking. So we'll see how that all goes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, college rankings came out.
Yes, they did.
Football. And
Tennessee's number 1, Ohio State's number 2, Georgia's 3, 4 is Clemson.
I don't know how Georgia can't be number 1, defending NCAA champs.
Part of that was their schedule, and that's why they put Tennessee up there, because Tennessee's already got the win over Alabama.
Yeah, well, look at last year's schedule and this year's. And how can Georgia not be number 1? I mean, personally, I would have gone Georgia, Ohio State, than Tennessee.
I think it comes down to a little bit of the same reason why Michigan is down there at number 5 is what Max said. Their schedule, I mean, Georgia's best win right now is against Oregon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Oregon right now, with that, if they lose again, that's not going to help Georgia.
No.
And that's part of the reason that the committee is looking at, and that's why they put Georgia at number 3. It's because of the Oregon win that Oregon is. It's. I mean, again, we have to say it. The Pac-10 is not that.
Good.
No, it's horrible.
But I'll put this to the viewers. I'll put it to you guys. One game, Georgia, Tennessee. Your life depends on it. Who are you taking?
Georgia or Tennessee?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
life depends on it.
You mean mortgage? If your mortgage depends on it.
Mortgage.
So
your house
mortgage. If they're playing in Knoxville, of course Tennessee. If they're playing in Athens,
they're playing in Athens. Georgia's an 8.5-point favorite,
but they're ranked 3 spots behind Tennessee. I think Georgia would still be a favorite if they were playing in Tennessee.
Really?
Be about 3.5.
I take Georgia there, but they're playing in Tennessee. It's
no. They're playing in Georgia. Are you?
Oh, but I was yeah. Georgia's going to win. I think Georgia's going to win this game. But it's going to be one of those where Tennessee won't drop past 4.
Georgia has to win this game.
They do.
If they lose this game, they're out of the SEC championship, and probably on the outside, which would be absolutely insane. The outside looking in.
Yeah, because they won't be able to
see. Georgia wins and they cover easily, and that's the beauty of Vegas and their odds. There are people saying, "Oh, 8.5, that's a lot," and they're on this Tennessee bandwagon. Which Tennessee, it's got a good team, but they're not going to beat Georgia, and they're not going to cover.
That's
opinion.
why they're going to watch the game.
Well, that's why we play the game.
Yeah.
So who do we have fourth then? We got
Fourth is Clemson.
Clemson.
okay. I mean,
And Clemson plays Notre Dame. They still have Notre Dame to play, and then with the ACC championship, I don't see anybody beating them. I mean, I don't know if North Carolina State will give them competition and beat them, or even North Carolina with Mac Brown.
But let's roll this tape forward and say Michigan beats up on Ohio State and goes on the road and beats Ohio State. Sorry, Drew. I mean, do you and let's say it's a close game. I mean, doesn't beat up. Let's say it's a close game, but win by 3-7.
okay.
Would you take a one-loss Ohio State, or would you take an undefeated Clemson? If you were trying to pick the top 4 teams in college football, can you argue?
Based on the size of the program, the fan base, you got to move Clemson up undefeated over a one-loss Ohio State.
Why? Honestly, other than being an Ohio State homer, who is a better team right now, Ohio State or Clemson?
I mean, in my eyes right now, Ohio State. But you do got to factor in wins and losses, and it's a major program.
Who has Clemson beat? TCU has a better case for the top 4 than Clemson.
I understand, but there's politics involved.
I hate politics.
Which you are not privy to, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I want to keep asking the question because it's Big 12. Why are we leaving TCU out of it?
Well,
They have no
we
chance?
just answered the question. Their schedules. I mean, if TCU wasn't in that program, who's the next highest ranked team in the Big 12? Oklahoma State?
No, it's let's see. So TCU is the only one that's undefeated there. So we have
Yeah. Who is the next highest Big 12 ranked team?
so
After
after TCU. It's going to be Kansas State, and they're 6-2.
What's their ranking?
They're 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
That answers your question.
Here's Texas Christian University's 4-week schedule: October 1, 8, 15, 22. They only beat 18th ranked Oklahoma, to follow that up with beating 19th ranked Kansas, to follow that up with beating 8th ranked Oklahoma State, and then beating 17th ranked Kansas State. And they have 24 ranked Texas coming up on the 12th of November. If they win out,
Well, here's some validity. If they go, are they going on the road to play Texas Tech and then Texas?
no, they're Texas Tech at home, on the road to Austin to play Texas.
Okay, so don't overlook Texas. Can't say it. Don't overlook Texas Tech. They got a pretty decent team, and they're capable of an upset. But yes, if they
You're making our argument.
if they beat, now I'm just saying why the ranking is as it is now. But if they dominate Texas Tech at home and then go on the road and beat Texas handily, then we can have a legitimate conversation about should they be in the
Well,
conversation.
TCU is going to beat Texas Tech. They're playing in Fort Worth, and then TCU comes to Austin, and then TCU does their last game of the year, which they always do against their rival, and that's against Baylor and Waco. They're going to run the table. They're going to run the table, and you know why? If you look at their roster, check out their quarterback. What's his name?
Max.
Dugan.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he's a good quarterback. And
He's
you know
a
what they're-
great quarterback. I love the
And
guy.
what they're doing is with him, they're really Sonny Dyke. I'm a big Sonny Dyke fan.
You said, stop. Don't do that again. Keep going.
But he's really gotten the most out of that guy, and he's running the ball
He's coaching
now,
him. Yes.
coaching well. And this is a good question. Who should be coach of the year, Sonny Dykes or Heupel for Tennessee?
Right now, Tennessee.
Yeah. If Tennessee makes it in the top 4, it's going to be a high pull. But if they slip a little bit,
I don't know. I mean, lose to Georgia in a tight game, is that a slip?
not in my
Here's
opinion.
so rolling back on the whole Georgia Tennessee thing. Why is Tennessee number 1 and not Georgia?
Because
This is Georgia's schedule. They beat Oregon, great. Then they beat Samford, guys familiar with Samford. South Carolina, Kent State, Missouri, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and Florida.
Well, there you go.
Only one ranked team in that schedule. Now I turn over to Tennessee. They've only beaten Pittsburgh, at Pittsburgh, ranked 17th. Florida, ranked 20th. They beat LSU
at the time.
They beat LSU at LSU and not a close game. 40-13.
They dominated them.
They beat Alabama. Now they really did beat Alabama.
That was a great game.
Was not as close as that score purports to be.
They dominated.
Then they beat Kentucky 44-6.
Kentucky's good.
Kentucky's not bad at all. So why they rank Tennessee over Georgia? That's why. Because they have this thing.
Last time Georgia lost a college football game? Just out of curiosity.
They lost it to Alabama last year, and then they had to beat Alabama.
They lost in the championship. Yeah. And here's where, I mean, I think the CFP rankings in the first week in November are just fodder for us to talk about. And thank you, the sports gods, for giving this to us. But they're meaningless. I mean, they talk about body of work, and they're just trying to justify what they're doing, which doesn't matter until we get to the end of November.
That's it.
Well, a lot of questions will be answered this weekend. Yeah. A lot of other questions will be answered this weekend, and that's the Phillies and Astros, which I predicted would go 7 games, and it's heading that direction.
Phillies got shelled last night in that one inning.
Yeah.
Give it all up in that one inning. How does your relief pitcher come in on the first pitch and doink a guy to send a run in?
Send a run in, yeah.
That's always been my knock on Philly. I love their team, but their relievers could cost them the series. I always said that the hitting would win this series as opposed to pitching, but man, that guy from the Astros, he pitched a gem last night. Well,
I do have a question. I have a question because you're the get off my lawn. Okay. So my question, and I was thinking about you last night when I was watching the game. Dusty Baker, I respect the guy. I love him. Why did he pull the guy? It's the World Series.
That's Dusty Baker, man. But he didn't. Does.
But now you have 4 that are credited for the no-hitter, which he was dominant. You didn't have to pull him.
Yes, you did.
You had to pull him?
Yes, you did. I mean, one, he really hadn't exercised much of his bullpen yet. So I think at some level he needs to give some reps to those guys. 2, the analytics are right. I mean, the more times around the batting order, the more potential. And we saw what Philly did the night before and hung a whole crap ton of runs on them, just like in the blink of an eye.
Well, that's because they were reading the pitches.
Yes, which I find incredibly funny.
But going back to you, I was screaming at the television, leave him in, leave him in, leave him in.
Dusty Baker used to drive me nuts when he coached the Reds, you know. He's Captain Hook. And like to Bob's point, he's not afraid to take a guy out, no matter if it's a 1-hitter, 3-hitter, no-hitter. Well, and he's Mr. Analytics. He just
pitcher Christian Javier yesterday was just dominant, man. He was just dominant, and those they couldn't figure him out. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and maybe something else was going on behind the scenes with Dusty talking to him, going, "Hey, you know, where are you? How do you feel?" And he's going, "Yeah, you know, maybe it might be time."
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the pendulum swings back, obviously, now to the Astros. Verlander's pitching tonight. Noah Thor's pitching for the Phillies. He's not the pitcher he used to be at all.
Verlander isn't all that great in the postseason lately.
I understand, but
you think he turns it up today?
I think they light up. I always say his name wrong. Syndergaard. I think they light him up tonight.
Okay, so you're saying the Astros are going to take a 3-2
lead. I think
back.
And I'll go with my game 7 still in the series.
Okay,
I'm going to take the Phillies.
Well, mine was shot to heck because now they're at 2-2 apiece. So I had the Astros at 4-1.
I could still be right with the Phillies or somebody in 6.
Yeah.
But I got to stay with my podcast in April where I predicted the Phillies would win the World Series.
I mean, though it's setting up to be really, really nice, because if we get a game 7, we don't have to worry about splitting our interest between baseball and football because that's going to be an absolute shit show on Sunday night.
Yeah. Well, something that is occurring as rare as a blood moon is Phillies are playing on Thursday night and the Eagles are playing.
Mm-hmm.
Different locales, but they're football and baseball the same night.
Yep.
Speaking of Thursdays, the Eagles are playing tonight against the Texans, and it's a Eagles 13 game. 13 points. Yeah. Are you going to take the Texans?
So you know my philosophy. If you don't, I'll say it again. If you're getting double-digit points and you have an offense, take that team. If you're getting double-digit points and the team that's getting the points has no offense, take the other team. So I'm going to take – I got Philadelphia covering in that one. 44-22. Philly covers the spread.
Who do you like in this game, Max?
By the way, do you want to say what everybody is?
Yes.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to hear it.
We're going to skip it. We're going to skip it. Hit the mute button,
You're
Bob.
making money if you're betting with me against the
sound bad?
Drew, there's
Hey,
this.
Zach, it's your boy.
Whatever.
Drew is now at 15-9. He's starting to roll.
against the spread, kid.
And then Bob is looking at a half moon, quarter moon, or full moon at 12-12. And let's just say
Dating my cousin.
yeah, 7-8. Oh my God. So Drew's taking the Eagles, and you know what? I'm just gonna sling it out there. I'm gonna go with the Texans.
Okay. Any reasons why?
Just because they're playing in Houston, and I think they're going to be inspired by the Astros winning tonight. I'm just throwing it out there, man. It's a holiday season.
Texans are 0-2-1 at home this season.
I know.
I'm going fly, Eagles fly.
Eagles fly. All right.
It's a lot of points to give up, but
It is.
Houston sucks.
I just want that mountain still higher for the Cowboys to have to overcome to possibly win this division, which they're not going to.
Really? Okay. Next one is Sunday night. The Titans are going to the Chiefs Arrowhead. And right now the Titans are 5-2 and the Chiefs are 5-2. With the Chiefs, oh my God, that's 12.5?
12.5.
Wow.
12.5.
Well, you know me, I love the Chiefs at home, but I think if the ground game gets going for Tennessee and they control the clock, they won't win, but I think they cover that spread.
You're going to take the spread with the Chiefs.
I'm gonna take the Titans to cover the spread.
Okay, to cover the spread. Okay.
I don't want to pick this game.
Bob, you have to. I'm just going to close my eyes and write in your name here. You know what? I think this is the week that the Chiefs start turning it on. I want to go with the
I think
Chiefs.
y'all are just trying to catch up to me, so you're being
that's what I'm doing.
counterintuitive.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs in the 12.5. Yes.
The thing that worries me about this game is the same thing that happened to me last week with the Packers. I'm not worried that the Chiefs are going to win and it's not going to be a contest at all. I think we're going to watch this game and go, were the Titans even playing football? Kind of a deal. My worry is in the fourth quarter with 3 minutes to go, they score a late touchdown against the defense that they brought in from down the road to the local high school, and they backdoor cover. It's what happened with the bloody Packers. You don't give up that late touchdown. So I'm scared of this game, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
I mean, as I'm pulling these scores up, I got an ad for like this device that cleans out in your gutter with this big claw, and that actually interests me more than this game.
So Monday night, it's going to be the Ravens going to New Orleans. I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm just going with the Ravens.
They added something on defense to shore up that bad defense, that defense that collapses in the fourth quarter.
And that's the Ravens and who?
It is the Ravens and the Saints.
The Saints.
And you're in New Orleans.
But you're giving up. Baltimore's getting. I'm sorry.
Baltimore's given 2.5.
Given
to the Ginger sensation, Andy Dalton. You're gonna roll with Andy. You're gonna roll with Lamar.
So I had a guy tell me one time when I started tracking, and it's pretty accurate. He said, when all things are considered, and you're not sure who to bet, take both quarterbacks, and who's ever the better one, take that team. So I think that at this stage, Lamar's he can beat you with his feet. He's just a better quarterback than Dalton, obviously. So using that philosophy, I am going to take the Ravens, who have sorely disappointed me again this year and not covered any game, I bet. But I'm a battered sports fan as opposed to a battered wife. I'm going to go ahead and...
True.
What?
Okay, so Drew's going with the Ravens, Bob?
I'm going with the Ravens.
Here's an interesting stat. You want to talk about going with the better quarterback? Who's got the better rating?
Doesn't matter. You know that Lamar's a better quarterback.
Last time I looked, I know that Dalton's ratings were surprised me. It wasn't the top 10, but it was up there.
95.1.
How many rush yards does
Lamar Jackson, 94.2.
How many rush yards does Lamar have?
Oh, he's...
You
Can I say
you trounced out this?
Bob, I'm going to answer that. Why I'm going to answer that the same amount that Daniel Jones has. Well, that's an inside joke.
Daniel Jones has began his losing streak. The boy can run. I'll give
so Bob is going to go with.
He
knows Lamar will beat him with.
He knows. Come on, Bob.
Hold on. I want to. Interesting enough, Lamar has more yards than Daniel Jones.
Yes.
Lamar is the number one running threat on the Baltimore offense, which is not a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing that your quarterback runs all that much. He has over twice as many yards as the next leading rusher for the Ravens, Kenyon Drake, who only has 251.
But you got to remember, one of their guys went down, Dobbins. He's injured. So
he played in 4 games and only rushed for 123 yards.
Edwards is back, though. Edwards is a good back for them.
Yeah.
I just see him beating, like I said, he'll beat you with his feet.
I have to come back. I'm going to take the Ginger sensation.
All right.
Ginger Country, let's ride.
The ex-Bengal.
Hey, Bob,
the TCU grad.
Yeah, the TCU
let's ride.
He's riding with the TCU grad, Andy Dalton.
Bob, did you see what just popped up?
No, not yet.
Ray Guy just passed away. The Hall of Famer punter, 7-time Pro Bowler. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No.
That just caught me off guard. I'm sorry. It just popped up. And
you talk about a guy that when you think of punters, he's the guy even to this day.
Well, the reason I brought that up is because we're talking about.
Wasn't he the first guy to hit the Astrodome?
I think he might have been.
I think I read something where he hit the.
Because when we're talking about punters and kickers, we're actually talking about the next Hall of Famer kicker for the Baltimore Ravens. Man, this guy is just unbelievable. I know I'm not saying that just because I have him on my fantasy, but man, this kicker from UT that's with the Ravens, there's no way that he's not going to be making it. But Hall of Famer Ray Guy, man, that's just
led the league in the category of average punt yards 3 times. Second on 2 other times, recorded 209 punts inside the opponent's 20-yard line. Longest punt was a 74-yarder.
Yeah, the guy could just flat out kick. That's sad news. Our thoughts to his family and friends.
So you heard it here first, probably.
Hey, breaking news, man.
Breaking news, man. We got 2 things.
TMZ to the max sports.
TMZ.
Something like that.
Anybody's watching? Well, anything else, guys?
That's it. Let's just enjoy these next, 2 months because it's about to start getting real.
Yeah, it's going to get real fun. Guess we'll see you all next week. Had a lot of fun. And
Go Mavs.
All the venues you can watch us on. Or
Spotify, Google, Apple.
All the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff.
We're not that good looking, but we sound really good in your car. So
we look really good in your car, too, because you're not looking at us.
Y'all have a great evening.
Be safe. Take care.
And we're out.